The world has gone absolutely mental. Obviously, there's very political things going on in the world that we touched upon this week and was a huge moment, not just in society, but in history. Bonnie Blue coming out, I mean, what a switch up that is, by the way. Bonnie Blue coming out with a brand new stunt, I suppose. Logan Paul's situation getting absolutely bonkers. And also Lily Phillips' family coming out to basically state that they just hate what she does. So let's start with that. Let's start with the Lily Phillips thing. OF and adult content that is not, well, is outside of the traditional realms, you know, in the sense of these online websites, is such a new concept that we are only just kind of realizing the ripple effects that, you know, these public stunts like we see Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips and all the rest of it doing is really having to the families of these, you know, online workers. Because it's just been posted that the parents of Lily Phillips revealed that they get calls every day and, you know, that threaten either them or the life of their daughter. And they even went as far as to state that their parents are basically begging their daughter to stop these extreme stunts. Now, all of these OF people, right, whether it be Lily Phillips, whether it be Bonnie Blue, whether it be whoever, all claim that their parents are so supportive, that they love what they do, that they wouldn't stop them. But that may not necessarily be true, as there is a lot of information coming out, right? And there's a lot of news articles coming out with regards to this. So one is from Yahoo Entertainment, for example, which states that Lily Phillips' parents offered to sell their home to stop her extreme OF and emotional convo, right? So Lily Phillips' mum and dad said that they tried to keep an open mind when they began creating content for OF, but now they're willing to make big sacrifices to just try and make her stop. The 24-year-old worker sat down with her parents during a recent appearance on the Stacey Dooley Sleeps Over, a British docuseries with an, Stacey Dooley is the presenter, spent several days with a non-traditional family. According to The Sun, Lily Phillips, the Phillips episode, included an emotional and very honest conversation between the X-rated content creator and her family. Quote, "We've known for years she's done OF, and I thought it was just posting swimwear and lingerie," Phillips' dad said. Phillips' dad, Lindsay, said, "I thought that's what it was. I really did." And then he goes, and then her mother, Emma, echoed Lindsay, insisting that she had no idea how extreme Phillips' content would become. I mean, when your daughter steps out of a hotel with men's fluids all over her face and decides to just walk down a street and film it, that's pretty intense. That's quite extreme measures. Quote, "When she said she was doing OF, we stood back because we want to continue our relationship with our daughter," Emma explained. "We were pretty open about it, but when it became to the next step, we were like, no. Phillips made headlines last year, obviously sleeping with 100 guys in a single day, apparently doing 2,000 guys in a day, all the rest of it, you know, all of these one-upmanship things that has been going on between all of them. Now, Lindsay, obviously Lily's father, said that he was primarily concerned about Phillips' safety, so much that he would do anything to convince her to give up adult content. "Is it the money? Because if it's the money, we'd sell our house," Lindsay said before addressing the hateful and threatening messages the family receives. "You could have everything you want, Lily, if you give it all up now. We'd do anything to stop her extreme stuff," Emma added. According to The Sun, Phillips eventually walked out of the conversation after becoming emotional, although she said that she understood her parents' concerns. Phillips claimed that she had no intentions of giving up the work. In fact, she's already brainstorming her next big video. "I've been talking with a friend of who has a plane. She said, we'd love to do something in the sky. I want ideas and feel exciting again, not just the same old numbers." Wow. So obviously, you know, it didn't go very far, did it? You know, this conversation between the parents and stuff. But this was kind of the part where Lily's dad, I believe, kind of mentioned the threatening messages that they receive. It's quite horrific, isn't it? You know, obviously you can see the emotion there. It's a hard thing when, you know, your parents are obviously getting roped into it in this capacity, you know. It's quite heavy hitting stuff. Now, The next part, obviously, is also, you know, just as difficult, because the parents basically say, we will do anything and everything that we can to make this stop. Like, whatever it is, you need money, we'll sell the house. Like, that's quite an extreme thing to do. I actually think Lily bought the house with the money. So, you know, the fact that they're like, we'll give it all back, just if it means that you stop doing what you're doing. And if my parents came to me and were like, you stop what you're doing in this capacity, and they had justifiable cause for it, I'd be like, do you know what? Maybe money's not everything. Maybe this notoriety isn't everything. But, you know, maybe I'm just not built this way. Quite extreme, right? That her parents... Now, I don't know the family. It's not my place to really comment on how they feel. But just going off of what's been said there, the fact that her dad is going, you know, it's degrading. What she does is degrading. Like, you know, her own father is saying that her work is degrading. You know, that should be raising alarm bells. And also the fact that he's questioning his own parenting, looking back, reflecting on her childhood, her life, and being like, where could we have gone wrong to have caused this? First of all, that's a really considerate and caring parent, because not all parents would do that. They would just see the amount of money hitting the bank account and be like, you do you, boo. Like, make me that bread. But this guy, he's like, you know, where have I gone wrong? Now, I've always thought that Lily Phillips, out of, like, you know, her and Bonnie Blue, is, you know, Lily Phillips was always the one that seemed to be a bit more, I don't know, soulful, I guess. You know, she seems to have a bit more, like, about her, a bit more emotion. But after seeing this, I'm starting to question if that's actually the case. Because, you know, someone who's got, like, genuine levels of emotion and care for their parents would probably consider this and not look at the bag. But, here's another one. So, you know, it's just to round it up, a bit different, off topic, but the woman who did a gross stunt with Lily Phillips says that her husband is divorcing her over the vile videos, right? So the woman who completed the gross backdoor challenge with Lily Phillips is now said that her husband is divorcing her after finding some of her graphic videos. Tiffany Wisconsin, who is an adult creator known as Tiff Goodtime, collaborated with Lily Phillips on her backdoor challenge earlier this year, and the woman posted loads of videos from the event, which Lily said she slept with 50 men in less than 24 hours. You know, we obviously don't need to explain what all of the rest of it is, but apparently off the back of that, her husband is divorcing her. I mean, the fact that it took until this point is kind of crazy. I mean, I would never wish to see the end of a relationship or a marriage or anything like that, right? But, you know, it's that's probably the most extreme stunt that anyone could possibly do. But there we go. That is the world that we live in. The fact that we've got parents coming out and, like, you know, being like, this isn't just affecting you, this is affecting us. And they're questioning their own parenting and it affecting people's actual marriages. How far is too far? I feel like every time I say that, something else happens, and it's like, that's the new like benchmark. Now, obviously, a video has also been going mega viral only 3 weeks after they got married, of Nina Agdal and Logan Paul having a huge public fallout. Trouble in paradise for Logan Paul and Nina Agdal. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, could it? It just couldn't. As videos have been going viral, right, of Logan Paul and his wife, Nina Agdal, only like 3 weeks after their wedding, caught in an argument in Paris, going into this fancy restaurant, right, just after the John Cena WWE stuff that took place in Paris for the WWE, right? So this is the video that's been going viral, okay? Obviously, there is no audio to go with it. We don't hear what the pair are spatting about, but we just see the body language and we see the reaction. That tells us all that we need to know. We don't need words to go with this. Yes, so as we can tell, obviously not exactly a happy marriage so far, right? Well, you know, marriages go up and down. You know, people tend to spat like this. You know, it's one of those things. But obviously, we can see here as Logan's trying to get out of the car. Clearly, Nina's trying to stop him in some capacity because he catches himself on her leg and he kind of kicks it out of the way. As you can see here, so you can see her leg there. You can see his leg, and he just kind of kicks his legs out in frustration. Face like a smacked ass as he goes in. Yeah, and then a somber, very quiet Nina Agdal follows in behind. So, you know, obviously the tabloids have gone absolutely mental for this story, as you can imagine. So the Daily Mail, or the Daily Fail, have got their hands on this, stating that Logan Paul and Nina Agdal's honeymoon period appeared to be well and truly over this week as the tense moment between the pair went viral. Obviously, right, everyone loves to watch the downfall of people and they love negativity. But it comes a little bit sweeter when it comes from someone like Logan Paul that people kind of despise. You know, there was obviously the Forest incident. He seemed to redeem himself a little bit. And then he did the crypto stuff with CryptoZoo, the scam, and he scammed like millions of people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, you know, thousands of people out of $100,000 or whatever, right? He's not exactly got a great reputation, so when someone like him is going through some issues, people tend to lap it up, absolutely adore it. It is sad to see because, you know, Nina Agdal doesn't seem to have really done anything wrong, but, you know, there we go. The YouTube star who's 30 and the supermodel 33 who tied the knot in a lavish Lake Como ceremony on August 15th sparked mass concern among fans as they've been filmed having an intense discussion in a taxi in Paris. The clip, Paul is seen grabbing the new wife's arm before the door opens and he attempts to exit the vehicle with Agdal's leg partially blocking him. The wrestler appeared to trip as he stepped out of the car with his wife marched into the building before a somber Agdal followed in behind. The awkward videos quickly sparked fears online as one fan wrote he's grabbing her arm and pulling her towards him to still argue when she tries to leave first and she tries to trip him up as he gets out of the car first. Damn, they just got married. Others wrote how embarrassing, walk off on her like that. Obviously this is the video that we've just seen. This was them later on. You know, clearly they've, you know, they're making up for the sake of imagery. Maybe they just did make up. Who knows? She literally tried to trip him. She tripped him. Yeah, all the rest of it. Yep, divorce coming soon, all the rest of it. Representative for Logan has declined to comment to the Daily Mail. Nina Agdal's representative have been contacted for comment but have not yet responded. Paul and Agdal share one daughter, Esme, who is 11 months old. And the pair got married last month, with Paul sharing photos from the nuptials and admitting, I've seriously been crying, right? So obviously furious. He's absolutely furious about something, and then Agdal follows out just behind. Now, off the back of this, as, you know, people tend to do, the sleuths tend to do when these things go mega viral, right? The comment section is fueled with videos like this, right? So this one video in particular going mega, like just literally getting tagged all the time. And it's from there. Do you remember Paul in America? Was it called Paul in America? Paul America? Something like that. The documentary between Logan and Jake on HBO or something. This video clip has been resurfaced.
The stroller's gonna be assembled in no time.
This is boring. Nobody wants to watch this.
I do want to finish this. No, but I have to do this anyways.
So finish it quick, and then build the other shit when they're not filming. This is boring. They'll agree with me.
She's pregnant. We don't want any conflicts. Whatever Nina says, goes.
So, yeah, that's been resurfaced a hell of a lot after this spat. Basically, people saying the writing was on the wall from the get-go. You know, there's been trouble from the very beginning, before they even got married. Andrew Tate himself even responded to this and, like, reacted to it. Now, I wouldn't exactly say Andrew Tate is a guru for information, and he's not the person I would necessarily go to look for some information. But, you know, here we are. Needs and musts.
The stroller's gonna be assembled in no time.
This is boring. Nobody wants to watch this.
I do want to finish this.
So finish it quick, and then build the other shit when they're not filming. This is boring.
She's pregnant. We don't want any conflicts. Whatever Nina says goes.
If I had to choose a long-lasting marriage with a woman who loved me or a woman who truly respected me, I might choose respect over love, even though they're the same thing for a woman because she loves you, she respects you by default. But if I had to choose, I'd choose respect. I've been through too much and worked too hard and go through too much in day-to-day life to come home to my house and be having battles over asinine bullshit. I take care of you and I love you with all of my heart. I would die for you. Please just cook dinner, please.
Yeah, he had me until the second half there when he's like the cooked dinner stuff, obviously. But that's just me. Yeah, I mean, people are like absolutely lapping this up. Like I say, Logan Paul's not exactly got a fantastic reputation when it comes to this kind of thing. So when there's trouble in paradise, he's not exactly a beloved figure in the world. I mean, amongst children, he is. Not in like a creepy way, but just because of the WWE. So he's built up his brand and his image through the WWE. So like through the eyes of children and kids, he's like a superstar. But people who have been obviously scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars online, who have been affected by the Japan Forest video, who have been affected by many other things that Logan Paul has done in the past. You know, people tend to just look at this stuff and just go, well, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Obviously, that's the situation that we find ourselves in. What do you guys make of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment below. Do you actually have any sympathy? Do you even care? Do you even care? That's the big question. Obviously, the comments are now jumping to Logan's an abuser, Nina's an abuser, these people are abusers, this is a toxic relationship. I mean, every Tom, Dick, Harry and their wife have had a spat at some point, you know, it's just one of those things. But because they are such notable celebrities, of course it's going to go mega viral. Now, Bonnie Blue, of course, is always going to get headlines with whatever she does, but she's taken her banging on the road, quite literally. I'm sure you've read the title and seen the thumbnail and you've probably been like, why are you still talking about Bonnie Blue? Listen, I've tried my best to, like, you know, steer away from the Bonnie Blue conversation, but let's not beat around the bush here. She is, like, just known for her controversial antics, and people kind of love to know what she's up to next because people love to get enraged by it or whatever, right? But this one was so left field that I was like, how can I not discuss this? Because it is just that wild. We've seen some crazy challenges. We've seen the barely legal stuff. We know what she's about. But you think, you know, nothing can really shock you anymore. Until you realise that Bonnie Blue is driving around in a blue van called the Bang Bus. Even the tab has titled this, guys, there's already footage from Bonnie Blue's Bang Bus and you can taste the desperation. So it is exactly literally as explained, right? So she's officially started her Bang Bus tour. So while you're yet to hear of any of the horror stories from the Freshers Week, events unlikely enough to host her, the soon-to-be infamous van has already been spotted. Though Bonnie Blue was, I love the way that they've worded this, pegged for a tour earlier this year that turned out to be fake, this venture is unfortunately very real. It's the latest stop in a string of desperate attempts to hold onto her fame. And the first being her Channel 4 documentary that came when she was banned from OF, Instagram, and finally TikTok. Freshers' Bang Bus tour locations have been announced. Which city will fill me up with the most? I can't even say the word, but here you go. You can just read it for yourselves because I don't want to get this video demonetized because, you know, I've got bills to pay eventually. She wrote on Twitter revealing the locations as Dundee, Newcastle, Lincoln, Leeds, Sheffield, Nottingham, Oxford, Cambridge and London. Now, I live in Newcastle, okay? So, you know, I'm actually intrigued to see how many people will turn up for this. There's also an official website for the event, which if you go to that, literally there is a website for Freshers and Meet and Greet Tour, right? And you've obviously got all of the locations here and, you know, it's dotted around on a map. This is literally as much as the website goes and it's just pictures of her doing wild stuff. So you know, there you go. You can treat yourselves to that. And without further ado, here is the Bang Bus. Now, it has been going mega viral across social media. Literally, if you just type into TikTok, Bonnie Blue Bang Bus, right, you get a shed load of videos like these. The top comment being, bus probably has less miles, is actually brutal. Turning up to a drive-through, as you do. I mean, like, it's great.
Hello, my name's Jamie at Prestige Graphics, and you might wonder why this vehicle behind me is rocking. Let's go take a look.
There's not. What is this, man? I mean, it's great advertisement, but is that really the thing that you want to be advertising to your audience, right? Like the top comment, that's your company's rep gone, and then Bonnie Blue also commented on it saying, "Thanks, boys. Can you give me a blow by blow account of how it was paid for, please?" I'm so embarrassed for him. It's just, oh. Looks cheaper than Bonnie Blue. Jesus Christ, banging job, mate. I like what they've done there. You know, people are just absolutely loving this, but yeah, it's people have it's like, do you remember when Prime first came out, right? The hydration drink by KSI and Logan Paul. And people made these Prime trackers. It's literally like that. It's like, or like, you know, people who do like train spotting, or they spot like Eddie Stobart trucks. It's like that. It's like people are like, I've seen the bus going on tour around. Like, this dude's driving on the motorway. He's literally driving on the motorway, and he's just like, yeah, Bonnie Blue Bang Bus. Let me get a recording of that.
Can you do that to me?
What?
Can you do that to me? Let's go.
You gonna bring your dad?
Yeah, I'm my dad. Oh, I've just met Bonnie Blue. What the hell? Can you do that to me?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's like the staple. Do you remember when celebrity status was like, you know, you met Alan Shearer, a footballer. You met Will Smith, an actor. You know, these talented people that are known for talented things. You met Michael Jackson, right? Arguably one of the best pop stars in the world in history. You met Elvis Presley. You met, like, you know, celebrity status used to mean something. You used to get so excited to meet celebrities. I remember being on Club Penguin when I was a kid, and if I got in the same server as like one of the famous penguins, I was buzzing. But now, all you need to do is meet Bonnie Blue and the Bang Bus, and that class is a warrants a response. I just met Bonnie Blue. I just met Bonnie Blue. Like, that's fucking crazy. That is crazy. Like, my brother, I had to give him literally a slap round the ear the other day, because he was working a festival. He works as like a support paramedic, right? So he works on the medical team, and he was working in a festival, and he goes, I looked across and I locked eyes with Lily Phillips, and my jaw just dropped, and she started laughing at me, and I was like, what is wrong with you, you absolute wet wipe? What are you doing? Sort your life out, you melt. Like, celebrity status used to mean something. Wild, man. Like, people are going mental for it. Literally everywhere. Everyone is loving it. People follow it. People are following it. Now, this isn't a wrong comment, right? If a man made a bang bus, he would get arrested. That's just straight fact. If a guy did half the shit that Bonnie Blue did, he would be hung, drawn, and quartered. Like, there wouldn't even be any question about it. But like I say, people are following this thing everywhere. Like, people go mental for it. And they're just like, oh, get your phone out and start recording. I'm not going to lie, if I saw it and I was driving around, I would absolutely record it, because just imagine how funny that would be. But at the same time, you know, if you can't beat them, I guess you just join them. And here's me talking about it, which is me not beating it, so I'm just going to join it. Join the wave. What do you guys think? Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, this is... You've got to give her props. You have to give Bonnie Blue and her team props for the creative imagination and the ideas that they come up with, because this is next level funniness. And of course, we've got the Charlie Kirk assassination, which has not just rippled through society and has asked some serious questions about societal problems, but also asked some very serious questions about political problems as well, and how far people are willing to go for their political beliefs. Of course, this is a conversation that is going to get heated in the comments, so please be respectful of that, but here's the situation that we know so far. The assassination of Charlie Kirk has sent ripples not just through America, but globally, as everybody has seen what has happened at this point, and everybody is equally as shocked as everybody else. Now, before we go any further, and I know what the comment sections are going to be like, because of course this was a very political thing, and Charlie Kirk was a very political person, we need to bear in mind that a human being has died off the back of this, and there is a family out there who is now missing their father, who is now missing their husband, and a wife who's going to have to raise 2 children without the father figure being there anymore. So, you know, please just kind of bear that thing in mind, especially down in the comments. I know politics is a very heated discussion, and it's, you know, something that people would say comes with the territory, but you know, let's be respectful of the people involved and the family. And of course, thoughts and prayers go out to the family at this time, because this can't be easy. And, you know, it's also worth mentioning that I think there needs to be a bit tighter regulation on platforms like Twitter, for example, and especially TikTok, where, you know, footage of the shooting is definitely, you know, very prominent, and you can't scroll without seeing it. So I think there needs to be a bit tighter regulation on that, because that's got to be very difficult for the family as well, to have to relive that kind of trauma. I doubt they can even make it onto social media at this point, but I digress. Let's get into the topic of the video, because at the moment the shooter is still out there somewhere. I'm going to give you the breakdown on all of the news we've got so far, and to kind of get you going forwards to see what goes next. So a bit of a brief oversight on what's happened thus far. So Charlie Kirk obviously is a 31-year-old conservative activist, and is the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA, otherwise known as TPUSA. And a prominent supporter of President Donald Trump, and was fatally shot on September 10th, 2025 during a speaking event at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. The event, organised by the TPUSA, featured Kirk in a question and answer session with approximately 3,000 attendees, primarily students. Officials included Utah Governor Spencer Cox, have described the shooting as a quote-unquote political assassination and a targeted attack amid a broader context of rising political violence in the US. Kirk, who was married and a father of 2 young children, died from a single shot wound to the neck. The incident has sparked widespread condemnation, a nation manhunt for the shooter, and debates over inflammatory political rhetoric. Now, obviously, that's the kind of key breakdown of what's gone on thus far and the information that we have that built up to this. Now, with regards to the timeline, of course, the shooting occurred around 20 minutes into Kirk's Q&A session, and witnesses reported hearing a single loud rifle shot, after which Kirk collapsed on stage, bleeding heavily from his neck. Now, there is footage going incredibly viral right now of this incident taking place. I will not be showing it, because I don't want to kind of play into that, idea of prolonging the trauma for the family and kind of keeping that video alive, but at the same time, also, it completely goes against all T's and C's of pretty much every single platform, barring maybe X. Now, within the immediate aftermath of the shooting, emergency services obviously responded quickly, but Kirk was pronounced dead at the scene not shortly after. No other injuries were reported amongst the attendees, and the university went into lockdown, as you can imagine, and 2 individuals were briefly arrested but released after authorities determined that they had no current ties to the shooting. And the FBI's Salt Lake City field office has established an online tip line for information. Now, as you can imagine, has been widespread media coverage of this, much like the Donald Trump attempted assassination back towards the end of last year, maybe start of this year. I think it was the end of last year. And there's a lot of stuff, especially towards TMZ, who are getting major backlash at this moment. I will get more onto that in just a moment. So there is, of course, a manhunt and investigation ongoing right now. This is a nationwide manhunt, as you can imagine, because the shooter is still, quote-unquote, at large. And, of course, there has been a bunch of tributes that have poured out in support of Kirk's family and of course, for him. One of which being President Donald Trump, who released an Oval Office statement reacting to this assassination. And here that is now.
I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the 2 young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So there obviously is Donald Trump giving his tribute to Charlie Kirk. He's not the only person who has come forward with messages to support Charlie Kirk and his family. Donald Trump Jr. also came out and stated, "Charlie was like a brother to me. I don't even know how to begin to put into words the loss I am feeling right now over the assassination of Charlie Kirk." Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has also stated, quote, "Once again, a bullet has silenced the most eloquent truth teller of an era." Praised Kirk as a, quote, "relentless and courageous crusader for free speech," drawing parallels to his family history of assassinations. And also many, many other people like the Turning Point USA have expressed devastation. The organisation has confirmed that Kirk's death vowed to continue his mission. So there is, of course, you know, countless tributes. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has also come forward to share his sympathies with the family. But at the current time of recording, the assassination suspect has not been caught. There is a nationwide manhunt being led by the FBI, Utah Department of Public Safety, and local authorities, which is currently ongoing, with no arrests and the actual shooter reported. Obviously, there were 2 suspects that were arrested shortly after the assassination, but the FBI Director Kash Patel shared over on his Twitter page that the suspect in custody had been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. So they had arrested someone that they believed to be the culprit, but was not actually the culprit. Now, as you can imagine, footage is being micro-analysed, very much like that of the Trump assassination attempt last year. And this footage is also now going mega viral, which seems to show a dark-coloured, dark-clothed coloured person, scouting across the rooftops in Utah. And that is kind of all that we've got to work off of. Moving forwards from that, there is also exclusive dispatch audio that has been released by TMZ. We will be speaking a little bit more on TMZ in just a moment, because there was a very controversial moment as well that appeared to be captured at the moment when it was announced that Charlie Kirk had been shot. But more on that in just a moment.
UVU by the Soundstand reported one individual that was shot, unknown where the shooter went. UVU in Orem has had an active shooter at the Charlie Kirk event. We're getting several calls. We're trying to get more information.
418 copy. How many injured do we have?
Just one person. Sounds like maybe another individual The car, we're not sure if they're a patient or if they're just trying to get out of the area.
We do have officers following the victim to Timpton Rapid Hospital.
Just east of the library. He's wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle.
To UVU, there was one shot. We are staging at the front of the school by the roundabout.
Is on top of the building on the far north side, just east of the library, wearing jeans, black shirt, black vest.
Copy. Can you confirm with PD, do they have the shooter in custody?
Your DPS is requesting us try and get that motorcycle stopped, maybe a suspect in that shooting. What was your traffic?
Is possibly a suspect from the shooting, if we can try and get that vehicle stopped.
Back in on the topic of TMZ, they caught a lot of smoke after the moment that it was announced that Charlie Kirk had been shot, because in the background of the footage that was like the BTS of the moment that they found out, you could hear clapping and laughing. TMZ later spoke out about this, but we'll get onto that in just a moment as well. So this was the footage that went viral after TMZ found out behind the scenes.
Janet, go to have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right, so is this ready to pull the trigger when you get Trump cut in a second?
So, of course, incredibly poor timing there with Donald Trump at that moment announcing that Charlie Kirk was dead, and then there seeming to be some kind of cheering and clapping in the background. TMZ did later address this and claimed that there were people in the back rooms that were celebrating a car chase in California, not the Charlie Kirk death.
We were live streaming all day during this tragedy when something happened in our office. As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not. They would not work here if they did.
And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing, and for that we are sorry.
We apologize. We apologize that you had to hear that.
And I get why, if you're watching the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about. We assure you it was not about that, but it was horrible timing. And
by the way, I get it too, and he gets it because we listened as we were talking.
You can go back and look on the stream. I actually walked off camera to go back and find out what the hell was going on, because it was inappropriate for the laughter at that time. But no one was laughing about the Charlie Kirk tragedy.
Nevertheless, we apologize for the way it sounded.
A lot of people are not buying the narrative. A lot of people are saying, all right, let's just let it slide. But it's interesting that, as well, that, you know, someone down in the comment section of this should ask Grok. At Grok, was there any car chases or police pursuits today between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. MST? Grok responded, based on news reports and sources like Fox 11 LA, ABC 7 and KTLA, no car chases or police pursuits were reported between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. MST on September 11th, 2025. There was one in Los Angeles around 12:30 a.m. PDT earlier that day. Obviously, take from that what you will. It's not a great look for TMZ at all, but it's not exactly as if TMZ have got a squeaky clean image as it is. Of course, that is kind of the breakdown of what we know thus far. The final thing that we will mention, of course, is the actual person that may have potentially assassinated Charlie Kirk. because it's been echoed across social media that the rifle shot, whatever it was fired from, was highly, highly accurate, and it was an incredible shot. Okay, that doesn't mean that I condone the shot and think and glorify it, but based off of the distance that it was believed to be, the accuracy in which it took, and the way that he was moving, Charlie Kirk, it's highly, highly accurate and highly skilled. And this has been echoed by law enforcement across the search for this person. So the source/expert, for example, so CNN chief law enforcement analyst John Miller stated, quote, "The shooter's planning, skill and execution may be complicating the search." Former FBI agent Catherine Schweitz stated, "The shooter likely used a preset sniper rifle on a bench." The LA Times, citing experts reviewing videos, quote, "The assailant probably had experience with firearms given the precision from a considerable distance." Sergeant Nicholas Randstad, from the US sniper, who is a US sniper expert, via the Daily Mail, stated, quote, "Not a highly trained military sniper, but a raft of experience around high-powered weapons and long-distance shots. Possible small error in the aiming /neck/head/chest." Okay, and that has been echoed across the multiple sources. What do you guys make of all of this? Of course, like I say, I'm going to echo what I said at the start of the video, that, you know, regardless of political opinions, regardless of what you think of Charlie Kirk and his messages, this is a human being that has passed away, and this is a human being that had a family. So please bear that in mind and be respectful of that down in the comment section if you are going to comment. But I am curious to hear what you guys have to say. Don't let that be a censorship warning, because it's not. The Charlie Kirk assassination is still one of the biggest stories gripping the globe right now. All eyes are on this situation because, of course, it was incredibly high profile. It seemed to be a very political move, and of course there have been messages across the globe pouring out sympathy for Charlie Kirk and his family. Now, I'm going to echo the sentiment that I made in the last video of this, where yes, this is going to be a very polarizing topic. A lot of people are going to be, you know, very opinionated on this topic. But please bear in mind, if you're going to write out a comment, that this was a human being that has lost their life. This was a father and this was a husband. And now there is a family that is going to have to live without their husband and without their father. So, you know, please bear that in mind when you're going to write out, if you're going to write out a comment, because, you know, it's important that we are fair in that sense. Obviously, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be censoring the comment section, but just I ask for a little bit of decency. Now, we're going to be going over the latest updates, obviously, coming out from this, because there has been a lot that's gone on since this happened a couple of days ago, and there's been a kind of a broader spectrum of things that have happened. So the latest developments that we've got is that the shooter responsible for the assassination of the, you know, conservative activist Charlie Kirk in Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, remains active with no arrest announced at the moment. The FBI, Utah Department of Public Safety and local authorities have intensified their efforts, releasing new evidence and a substantial award to solicit public tips. Kirk's body was transported from Utah to Arizona this morning, marking a somber milestone, of course, in the aftermath. And the key milestones for the investigation that have come forward include new video footage that has been released. So the FBI and Utah Public Safety Department shared enhanced surveillance video early this morning showing a person of interest believed to be a lone gunman fleeing from a rooftop firing position immediately after 12:20 p.m. shot. The footage depicts the individual in dark clothing jumping from the roof of a campus building, likely the Lossie Center, landing in the courtyard parking lot and escaping into nearby woods. This aligns with prior CCTV captures and confirmed the shooter's path, arriving on campus at 11:52 a.m., ascending via stairwells, and firing a single bolt-action rifle shot and ditching the weapon before fleeing. The video has been widely circulated on social media, prompting hundreds of tips via the FBI's Salt Lake City portal. Now, the footage that has come out obviously shows this footage that has been released to the public, and it does show exactly, as it was described. It shows what appears to be, a man essentially fleeing the scene, right, coming down off of a rooftop.
Out in the top left corner. We'll go ahead and play that video and I'll narrate as we walk through that. So here you see that the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's going to come out on the right, moves to this far right corner. As he does, he's going to climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it and a pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for and try to identify if they know someone who has those items, who has been seen wearing those items. We're looking for all that information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grass area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right. After he crosses the street, this is where he moves over into the wooded area. This is the video evidence that we utilize to track his movements and to locate that firearm in that wooded area following the discovery of this evidence.
So that's the footage that has been released to the public, and this is one of the strongest leads that the FBI has at this current time with regards to this case. Now, they did mention, of course, the clothing that was being worn by the suspect, and this appears to be the t-shirt that was worn as the POI. Right, so it appears to be this t-shirt here, Land of the Free, Home of the Brave, and it is an American flag, of course, with a eagle on the front. And that is essentially the kind of clothing that they are looking out for. Now, at the same time, they obviously mentioned that the rifle was apprehended and recovered from the wooded area. So investigators located a discarded powered bolt action rifle, which was preliminary identified as a .308 or .762 caliber hunting model in a wooded area near the campus late yesterday. Additional trace evidence includes a shoe impression from and firearm prints from the rooftop setup, suggesting that the shooter used a bipod or a bench for stability. Ballistics are being analysed to match against known firearm databases, but no serial number or owner has been publicly linked as of right now. Former ATF agents noted that the weapon's reliability for a one-shot kill, but emphasized that it does not require elite training. Though the next shot's precision from around 200 yards still points to experienced handling. Now, of course, there is enhanced photos of the person of interest. So additional images of the POI were released by the FBI around 8 a.m. Eastern time, showing a white male, approximately 5'10" to 6 foot, medium build, wearing a dark hoodie, pants and gloves, and the photos being pulled from the campus and traffic cams depict a pre and post shooting. Authorities stress that this is not a confirmed suspect, but urge anyone to recognize him to call 1-800-CALL-FBI. A separate name of interest, unreleased publicly, is being pursued per CBS sources as well. Obviously, there is also footage which appears to show, which has been released by TMZ, which appears to show the man walking before the shooting and then running behind some houses after the shooting. And this comes from a Waze home security camera. Now, the public, of course, are being urged to come forward, as you can imagine, because, you know, they need leads. They need an understanding of what is going on. And the FBI have now offered a $100,000 reward for anyone that can bring tips that will lead to the potential arrest or apprehension, or, you know, of this individual. Now, the FBI have also released pictures of the lead suspect that they are currently chasing it down, which is this, you know, shown in this footage here.
Well, here's the still photographs I mentioned. These have been enhanced, so these are slightly different than what we introduced earlier. Please pay close attention to the T-shirt. Like I said, very distinctive with that American flag and that eagle. The hat with the triangle and the sunglasses. If you'll go to the next picture, please. The backpack as well, all identifying features that we're hoping the public can help us identify and lead us to this suspect. Next picture. And again, there's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again, the T-shirt. Blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well. We have pushed these out. We'll continue to push these out, and we just ask for the public's cooperation through the public. The tips that have been coming in are what are giving us our next leads and enabling us to continue to further this investigation. We've had great cooperation from the public, and we're continuing to ask for that as we move forward. Thank you, and I'll turn the time back over to Governor Cox.
So that is what we're kind of working with at the moment, and Governor Cox has also announced that prosecutors will pursue, allegedly, the death penalty for the perpetrator.
More than anything, we are going to catch this person. Last thing I will just say is we've been working with our attorneys, getting everything that we need, affidavits ready, so that we can pursue the death penalty in this case, and that will happen here in the state of Utah.
So that's currently where we're standing with that. Now, moving forwards as well, there have been, of course, you know, rumors about who could have possibly been the person of interest, who it could have possibly been, but you know, TikTok is rife with information right now. So, you know, this video that I'm about to show you is of someone called Sky Valadez, and this is what this person has found with regards to this. I mean, obviously, it's hard to speculate about this kind of thing, of course, because, you know, it's difficult to know this. Now, there's also other supporting evidence to support this idea that this person called Sky Valadez who's rumored to be involved with this, after this footage has also been going viral after the shooting.
Smart, show the world how smart you are. We'll give you our mic, not your bullhorn, so come on up. So now we know that you're like a blatant narcissist that needs attention at all times to cut in line. Tell us what's so pressing that you needed to interrupt us before he could even talk.
So, let's talk about the 200 people deported without due process to El Salvador. I don't know if you saw this morning, but a United States citizen was actually deported.
It was not a U.S. citizen. That's not correct.
Liar.
It's not a U.S. citizen. It
What?
was actually...
Come on.
No, it was someone that was
Liar.
living here. Yeah, it was not a U.S. citizen.
Hey, this guy just f***ing lies. It's not.
No.
Hey, no. You wanna have a debate, but you don't.
It was
debate.
not a U.S. citizen, first of all.
You wanna have a debate, but you actually don't debate. There's nothing more ill-faith than this.
So
you're not.
we already have a mic.
Name two times. Name two times where you changed
Show me you're losing without telling me you're losing.
What? So you're just going to lie?
Well, first of all, it's not a U.S. citizen. He was living here for a while. He was part of MS-13. Answer yes or no.
Okay.
Should members of a terrorist organization be able to stay in the United States after they've murdered, raped, and gone after American citizens?
Obviously, no.
So we have deported those people back to their country.
The Fifth Amendment
That's what they've done.
calls for due
The Fifth
process.
Amendment does not apply to foreign
That's
citizens
bullshit.
that are
It
here
says
illegally.
all persons.
No. It's only
No.
to U.S. citizens.
That's a f***ing lie. He's
Okay.
a liar.
So, okay.
He can't debate. He just
Okay,
lies.
you've now sworn like 3 times. Let's just
What,
calm
you don't
down
like
a little
freedom
bit.
of speech?
Well, I mean, you could say whatever you want if you want to make a fool of yourself, but we do have like 10-year-olds here and 11-year-olds, so can we
don't
have some
care.
decency?
Whatever.
Okay, you don't care. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself,
Who said I was
not
a
about
leftist?
the other people.
Who said I was a leftist?
Well, it's very clear by how you're acting.
Now, that was allegedly Sky Valdez. Now, obviously, you know, this is just speculation that is running across the media, but, you know, these things tend to bear a little bit of fruit with the seeds of truth. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. Of course, please remember my bit at the beginning about being just respectful of the family and stuff like this. What do you guys make of this entire thing? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.